Hey guys, and welcome to another book video. Today I'm going to be talking about all the books I read in February. There was one book I really wanted to finish before February ended. No, we're in March. There was one book I wanted to finish before March finished. It's April 1st. I finished it today. And it ruined the mood. We'll get to that in a little bit, but I figured we will start with all the books I read. I have my reading journal, I have coffee, got the books. This month I read 7 books plus the one I finished today, which I'm gonna include in this video because it goes with the other books I was reading. For the first week of March, I did a great job reading. I think I read I read 5 books in the first week of March. I did great. Then I kind of got in like a reading slump, was also just busy, so I didn't have time to like pick up a book and read. And then these last couple weeks of March, I read 3 more books, well, counting the one that I finished today. And I also started a few books that I didn't finish, which I will finish in April. Yeah, the first week of March, I did great. I was having a great reading week. So the first book I picked up was The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. And I really enjoyed this book. It is a fake dating romance. And I really enjoyed it. I thought the book was really good. I thought the romance was cute. I thought the things that happened in it was funny. I had a good time reading this book. It's one of those books where I wish I could read it again for the first time. I really enjoyed it. Then the second book I read was When Broken Roads Lead Home. And this is by T.K. Chapman. And it almost felt like 2 books in one. So the first half of the book is these 2 people. They've gone through things and they're working their way into a relationship, getting together. That's half the book. Then the other half of the book is them going through life together. But I felt like the little bit of character development you saw in the beginning was completely like 180'd in the second half of the book. I just feel like it was 2 very completely different books, 2 completely different plots in this book, and it was just hard to read. But it was just like not that great, and I kept reading it thinking I wasn't enjoying it and I should really stop reading it. But then I just kept reading it. I also felt like the dialogue did not flow normally. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It just seemed like off. Just the dialogue seemed off. Like it didn't seem natural. That's probably where it was. And I just felt like the book was all over the place. Like there was just a lot of plot holes and just a lot of things going on that I did not enjoy in this book. And I just feel like there was a lot of things not addressed in their characters' actions. I did not enjoy this book. So definitely not a favorite. The next book I read is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I really enjoyed this book. It is a book about a woman who murders her husband by shooting him 5 times and then remains silent after that. And you're going through, there's a, what is he, a psychologist? Oh, he's a criminal psychotherapist, and he is trying to figure out why she's not speaking. There are a lot of twists and turns. I did not see the twist coming at the end of this book. It was great. I also read this book in like a day. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. It's not a book that's moving super fast paced. And I feel like with the twist at the end, they could have done a better, my only critique, they could have done a better job throughout the book, making you kind of think more. Just because the way certain things are phrased, I don't think most people would have gotten to like realize that twist was coming. But I guess that's the point. But it was good. It was really good. Like it had me thinking, like jumping from this character to this character. I trusted no one, but it was good. I really enjoyed that book. The next book I read was The Girl Behind the Red Rope. You know, I started reading vlogs and I had all my thoughts on this book in that reading vlog, which never made it to YouTube. But I wish I didn't delete the files because they would have been good for now. It was interesting. The author is a Christian author, writes different Christian type books. But this book kind of felt cultish, almost like someone hurt by the church. So it's basically about this town who's being protected by this being, and apparently they are protected by this red rope that outlines the perimeter of their town. Some of them are like questioning what's going on, and then they get visitors. This is all in the back of the book. I'm not spoiling nothing. For being a Christian book, and there was like hints of what Christianity was, it really just spoke about light and darkness and shadows, and I feel like they never said anything. And it's just, it could be a very confusing book. Like, if you are not strong in your faith, if you're not a Christian, this is not a book I recommend to anyone, because I feel like you can be very confused by it, and just by the way that they describe certain things, even the revelations at the end, and just them finding out truth. Like, there's confusion in that. I mean, it was a lot. I even the ending of it, I just remember thinking, like, is this really how it's gonna end? Like, the society was weird. It was very cultish. Really, this book just showcased how fear can be personified. I just feel like this book really just shows you how easy it is to be led astray. Not sure that was the purpose, but it was very confusing. I read one book on my phone because I felt like my eyes needed a break. And the book I read on my phone was Love at First Fight. This book was about a girl who kind of decides that she's going to go on all these dates and then decide if she's going to continue dating or not if she doesn't find the one. Now, her friend is dating, he's not really her ex-boyfriend, but a guy she really used to like. Her best friend is dating his brother, and they have issues. They're like frenemies, and you kind of go through like their romance together, and then like her friend and their romance. So it's kind of like two books smushed in one, where sometimes you can get, it was done well. Not like the other book where it was like two books in one. This is almost like a book one. It's almost like a book and told from two different sides. So you're kind of getting two different plots in this story. It really wasn't bad. I don't remember if I bought this book either. I think it was free. It's like one story, but there's two different plots because there's two couples that the story is going back and forth with, and it kind of starts off with the first couple, and then flows into the second couple towards the end, where it becomes more about them. I wish the info would have played on that, because it was heavily like just speaking about their issues, but that ended around like 60-70% of the book, and then the rest went into theirs. But you're seeing glimpses of the second couple, so it could have been like a first book and a second book, I feel. But hopefully I'm making sense. I feel like I'm just talking in circles, but it was almost like two books, maybe a book one, book two, four different points of view, and it all blended well. It worked. That's what I'm trying to say. The last books that I read is the Song of Seare trilogy by Carla Laureano. Hopefully I'm saying that right. In a haul weeks ago that I did, I actually bought the third book, and I read the back, thought it was interesting. It was like $6 on clearance, so I bought it. This is the book that I did finish today, so technically this will go for books I read in April, but we're going to talk about it now because I finished the series. So I ordered the first book, which is The Oath of the Brotherhood, and yes, it bothers me that these two have the same covers and this one's different. It's funny because last night I started reading this, and at first, since I was pretty sure, this was written by a Christian author, Christian-based, whatever, and I started reading it, and then it's like, oh, he's a follower of like this thing and this, and I was like, what am I reading? Is this some cult stuff? Because I was a little nervous. But then once I googled it, it is Christian based. It just has like a different name for these things, since it's based like, obviously in a fake world. There's magic involved. I know people feel certain ways about magic and things like that, but so far I'm liking the book. So this book is about a guy named Connor who is following a forbidden faith, and you're just seeing his adventure throughout this whole thing. You're seeing him find love, find true friendship, turn into a warrior, an adventurer who is they are trying to defeat an enemy. And you're just going through his life, and it goes through multiple perspectives. So you have his love interest and one of his friends, his closest friend. So you go through their different perspectives, and you go through all of that throughout the books. And you're seeing how things are unfolding. There are things, oh my gosh, there are things they need to discover. There are things that need to get done. There's an order of how God is breaking things down. So this was written by a Christian woman. They are believing in a Christian faith, but they're all different names, different words for things, and it can be a little confusing because they're hard to read, but it's really cool. It has a very what's the word? Celtic? I could be saying that word so badly. Type of fantasy. It almost feels Scottish, Highlander type of scenery. And I just thought it was really good. I thought it was at a great pace. Like, none of the battle scenes or fighting scenes are super, super long where you're just like, okay, we just read 8 chapters of one battle. I'm over this. They're quick. They are detailed, so you know what's happening. I just feel like she has a good balance. The author of everything. Just the pace of the book, the amount of details to include for everything, the amount of information that we get. So I really did enjoy the first 2 books. I think my favorite book was book 2. Book 1 had a lot of groundwork where you're understanding the way the kingdoms work, the way the different lands work, the different kingdoms, and you're learning about each character. You're seeing that character development. You're seeing how they work, and I really enjoy that because you start to like the characters a lot. I finished the book, and it was really good. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm actually really sad that I didn't order the second book before I got here because all I want to do is continue the series. This book definitely just lays the groundwork for everything that's going on. War is taking place, and there is a love story in this. It's super, it's not the whole purpose of the book. It doesn't lead certain decisions that the main character makes, but it's really good. The second book is Beneath the Forsaken City, and in this one you get a little bit more into the romance between some of the characters, and you see more character development, and not just who they are, but you're seeing how they can be teared down but brought back up. It is great. I really enjoyed this one. There's a little bit more adventure. I know I read reviews on the series online, and a lot of people felt like the plot and the storyline was led by the romance, and I have to disagree. Wholeheartedly disagree. I do feel like their romance played a part in the plot and the storyline, but I don't feel like their romance led the story at all. At all. After reading book 3, at all. Okay? I do think they did a great job. It actually unfolded completely different than the way I thought. Like, when you read the ending of the first book, there's a part of you that's like, ugh, is this gonna get like how these people thought, all romancy and just kind of move away from everything that was going on in book 1, but it doesn't. It is good. This one I really enjoyed so much more. There's action, there are trials, there is just so much going on. Let me see. I don't want to give too much because of other things, but there's just so much going on in this one that I really enjoyed. The ending of the first book and all of this book, great book. The third book, we are going to talk about it because the third book is, the final battle. We are getting all the answers that we don't have in books 1 and 2. I thought it was a great book until the ending. I don't like the way it ended, and it's not because things didn't happen the way I wanted to. I just felt like there could have been more. So I feel like this series almost ended, this trilogy kind of ended in a spot where it's kind of I'm going to write this third book, but I feel like this is my last book. Or halfway she was kind of I'm done with this. And that's kind of how I felt the ending felt. Because it kind of felt rushed. You're getting to a point where you're just uncovering things, and then the book's done. And I didn't like that. I felt like it needed a lot more. I felt like it ended not the way you wanted it to end, but the way you knew it was going to end. And I wish it ended with a twist, with something happening, and not like the twist that everyone's hoping is going to happen when you read. If you've never read this book, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But there are certain things that are happening that were pretty predictable, but you're hoping like she's not going that route, but then she went that route, and now you're like, oh, I wish it ended differently. I still really enjoyed this series. After not reading like fantasy and like some sort of like adventure type books in years, I really did enjoy the books. I really did enjoy the series. I would reread it, and I do really like it. There was no spicy scenes. There was no like language, which I really enjoyed. And I felt like it was easy to get into, an easy fantasy type of book. I truly enjoyed this book, and I think that's just what makes me sad about how it ended. It just wasn't my favorite ending. Also, like, even the spine, like, come on, that just does not match. But they only have a hardcover of the next book, which I don't mind because my first one is a hardcover, but I bought it for $10. The third book is $24. I'm not spending $24 just because of that. I thought this was going to be like this, such a happy book video. I was so excited to make this video. That's why I was trying to rush to finish that book. But if I knew that I wasn't going to love the ending, I wouldn't have finished it. I do wish that that ending was better. Besides that, I love the series. There are a lot of books I wanted to read this month that I didn't get to. It just happens. Sometimes you're just too busy to read. It's sad. But come back next week, because my plan is to read The Folk of the Air by Holly Black and give you guys a full review of the book. And yeah, if you have not already, definitely check out my last video to get your PDF, an outline of the Book of Acts. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Hopefully it's helpful. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.